Thanks, Karen. As mentioned earlier, my name is Jessica Chittapong. I work on the West Ed team supporting the LaunchBoard for over 3 years now, and I'm going to show you how to access the site, how to navigate it, and how to use some of the key features. So bear with me while I switch over to my browser. So one of the great things is that the LaunchBoard and all of the dashboards are now in front of the firewall, so anyone can access it from a public site. So to access a site, you can go to the CalPAS website, or you can Google CalPAS LaunchBoard. And you just click that first link here. It'll take you to the LaunchBoard homepage. And so you'll see here a link to all of our LaunchBoard dashboards. To get to the student success metrics, simply click Explore. You'll be taken to the landing page of the student success metrics, where you'll see all of the student journeys that Karen talked about. And again, these are defined using student goal as well as course taking patterns. Underneath here, you'll see a link to all of the resources involved, as well as a date for when the data files were updated, or when we received the data files from the Chancellor's office, and that's the data that will be reflected in the dashboard. Also on this page, you'll see the documentation of what changes were made to this build versus the last build. If you click here, it'll download a Word document, and you can see exactly what definitions changed and how. From here, you can also select your school, region, or district. And from here, you can do a search. If you want to look for San Diego, just start typing San Diego, and it'll pop up. But we'll stick with statewide for now. And you can also select a specific year, but we'll look at all for now. So let's go into the all student journeys. You'll be taken to the actual dashboard page now. And so again, you'll see the filter options here, the same filter options. You can choose the student journeys. This is unique to the student success metrics dashboard. You can always switch to a different student journey if you want to compare or look at how different students are doing. You can reset your locale selection. So you can switch to looking at regions, or switching back to looking at your institution at any point in time. Again, these are all the years available, academic years. For this dashboard, we go back to 2014, 2015. And again, as Karen mentioned, we have a lot of drill downs to choose from here. You can select one to look at, but every time you select a new filter option, make sure to click View. It'll reset the dashboard, and the data that you selected should pop up. On top of the filter options here, we also have this menu navigation. It'll take you straight to the groups of metrics that you want to look at. So again, we've organized the metrics in a way that would replicate the student journey. So we have enrollment, the type of student, learning progress, momentum, success, employment, and earnings. So if you're interested in learning progress metrics, just click here, and it'll take you directly to the metric within that category. And if you want to go back and change your mind, you can go back to any other of the sections. Before I go on, I also like to point you to the resources up in the upper right-hand corner. Again, this button will download the changes in definitions document that we just downloaded on the other page. But also, if you're just interested in calculations, you can click here, and this will take you to the metrics definitions page. And here we've loaded everything you'd want to know about how we've treated the data and how we've done the calculations. I'm going to go back to this in 1 second. And lastly, on this top portion of the dashboard, you can export the CSV file for all of the data in your filter selection. So, and you can get that by just clicking here, and the CSV will show up as a download here. So I want to go back to the metric definitions page just to show you a little bit how you would read it, why it's important, and just kind of the background documentation that's available to you. If you're not comfortable reading it online, you can download the document here, and it'll download a Word document where you can print out or look at it physically if that's more of your speed. So just wanted to show you what we call the preamble, and this is where we've tried to document all of the different ways we've treated the data, all the different assumptions we've made and why we've made them. And so please take your time and look at that. And kind of it details in a lot of detail how we've broken up the data. And again, the data limitations and how we've dealt with duplications and so on and so forth. Please take some time to read through. I'm going to jump to a metric that we can look at. And this is probably the simplest definition out there, but I just wanted to show you guys how you could read the calculations that we've made available for you. If you'll see here, we'll have the name of the metric on the top of the table, the description of the metric, the data source used, all of the data elements from that data source, as well as links to the MIS definitions dictionary. Underneath that, we'll have the calculations. And it's not actual code, but it's more of a pseudocode. So the bold is just a plain language descriptor, and then underneath is the code that we recommend to the coders to use. Underneath, if we do use a denominator to calculate, we would put the denominator here, and then we also tell you what the value type is that's going to be shown, as well as some additional notes that might be pertinent to the calculation. All right, so now I'm going to go back to our dashboard. Again, I'm going to click View just because I've learned the hard way that if I don't reset it, then it might not pop up again. And if you do change the filter a lot and it gets tripped up, you might need to refresh the page just as a user tip. So let's walk through one of the charts together. And so right here, we're going to be looking at the successful enrollment section, and the only metric here is the applicants who enrolled in a community college after applying. We have two charts that actually appear in one chart. Underneath the metric title, we'll have a brief description to hopefully orient you as to what this chart is trying to do. We'll have the chart itself. And if you hover over, you will have both the numerator and the denominator numbers showing. Underneath the chart, it's kind of small, but we also try to highlight what sources are used. So again, this metric uses CCC apply data, and as well as the Chancellor's Office Management Information System. One important thing within the chart is if you ever get stuck and if you ever want to know what the calculation is for this particular metric, if you click Technical Definition, it'll take you back to that metric definition dictionary page, and it'll jump you straight to the metric that we're looking at. It might take a bit of time, but it should take you directly to the table, and you'll see exactly what calculations were used within that metric. So all of our charts are fairly interactive. If you're only interested in looking at students who enrolled in the same college, feel free to just click that underneath there, and that line will just erase itself. And that sometimes helps folks get the chart a little cleaner and make more sense to people. For some of the metrics, we've also included just some helpful language underneath to help frame the metric a little bit more and give a little bit more detail. We try not to do this very often, only in cases where it makes sense, just because we want to keep the dashboard as clean as we can get. Okay, so let's walk through all of the metrics together just so you can have an idea of what it looks like. So we'll have the applicants who enrolled in community college. That's our first metric. Next, we'll go into our student type. So this will show you all students, since we're in the all students view. If I had selected adult ed ESL, that would be the metric that would show here instead. And then we're going into learning progress. We have the skills gains, course success rate, completed transfer level math and English, And we have it broken up by completed both transfer level English and math, as well as just math and just English. And again, you can get rid of these at any point. If you just want to clean it up, if you just want to look at math, you can do that as well. Then we'll jump into the momentum section, and we have completed level of education. And it's a percent here. And again, anytime you hover over, you'll have the values represented. Next, we have completed non-credit CTE or workforce preparation course. Earned 9 career education units and retained fall to spring. So we have here the successfully completed unit thresholds in the fall. We have the different unit buckets displayed here. Again, feel free to clean it up any way you like. So we have that same metric for the academic year as well. Next, we have the success metrics. This is our pretty hefty metric where we have all of the different completion types that we've displayed here. We have everything from completed post-secondary coursework to completed a community college bachelor's degree. Average number of units accumulated by associate degree earners and transferred to a four-year institution. Next, we have the employment section, became employed. And you'll notice here that there's that time lag here. And as Karen mentioned earlier, we are looking at exiters only. So we have to wait 1 year to make sure that the students have exited to be able to count them. And so all of our employment and earnings metrics will be delayed by 1 year. For the CTE outcome survey data, that's actually delayed by 2 years because we have to wait for them to exit and for them to be surveyed. And lastly, we have our earnings metrics, median annual earnings. We have the median there as well as the number of students that we've been able to match. And median change in earnings as well as living wage are displayed. And again, at the bottom here, you'll see the resources available, the change in definitions document, and how we've aligned, and a summary of the journey type. And so all of these are available to you. So one thing I did want to show you is a drill down view. So if you select one of the drill downs here, I'll select gender, the charts will refresh and show you the chart broken up by gender. And as of now, 4 metrics that have these multiple charts within one chart. We have to display each category one by one. And so you'd have to select male or female in this corner drill down options. Charts that are a little bit more simple, they can all populate together. And if I select a single year, the charts will change from timeline to a bar chart. Again, you'll see all of the categories appear for there. One thing I did want to note is that we've made some improvements to the suppression and complementary suppression rules. So we've added a lot more documentation about when and why we've masked some values. And you can access that information by clicking here. And we have a whole page dedicated to how we deal with suppression on the LaunchBoard. Hopefully that'll make it clear for folks exploring and understanding our logic a little bit better.